Hi, everyone. It's Alderwoman Lenny Manaa-Hoppenworth of the 48th Ward, Edgewater in Uptown. And welcome to our recorded annual infrastructure town hall. Before we get going, let's go over our values and community agreements. We value empowerment, anti-racism, community service, and joy. Our agreements include to be present, to be compassionate, to be generous, and to be brave. Our agenda today includes infrastructure funding, our approach to pedestrian safety, major completed projects, green streets, sewer and water mains, streets, alleys, and sidewalks, parks and plazas, under L activation, and participatory budgeting. We invest in our infrastructure in several different ways, including our capital improvement program, tax increment financing, our menu money, and also using state, county, federal, and community grants. On this slide, you'll see all of our major infrastructure projects, and that includes under our CIP, under our TIF funds and grants, and our menu. So for instance, we're very excited to share with you today about all of our utility improvements, including our sewer main replacement program, our park upgrades, including Bryn Mawr dog-friendly improvements, and our Sen playground nature play space, and also the improvements that we're making all over the ward, including residential street resurfacing and alley resurfacing, sidewalk repairs, and curb and gutter repairs. Our approach to pedestrian safety is that we want to organize our streets with clear spaces for pedestrians, vehicles, cyclists, so that everyone is safer. Our priorities include Vision Zero, eliminating traffic fatalities, addressing cyclists on Sheridan Road sidewalks, and making sure that we address dangerous vehicle behavior. Our approach is to organize our streets. We want to invest in pedestrian safety at intersections. We want to fill the gaps in our bike grid. We want to install and replace old, outdated, missing signage. We have added speed cameras on Sheridan and Broadway. And in the first 30 days, we issued 15,930 tickets. So we want to not only put in important infrastructure, but also enforce safety. We're very excited to have a beautiful 4 new stations in our ward. And we are excited to have full ADA accessibility, escalators, elevators, wider platforms, brighter lighting, and real-time travel information displays. We're also excited to announce Devon from Clark to Magnolia resurfacing improvements, which includes resurfacing the entire street, ramps upgraded to ADA standards, curb extensions for pedestrian safety, upgraded pavement markings, decorative crosswalks, new repaired signage, and new concrete bus pads. We are excited to say that Granville traffic calming is complete with one-way conversions between Greenview to Clark Street, Lakewood to Broadway, construction of raised crosswalks just west of Granville-Glenwood intersection, and we have heard overwhelming response that people on Granville feel safer in their neighborhoods. The Berwyn Greenway is almost complete. It's a 2.5-mile family-friendly bike route connecting the North Shore Channel Trail to the Lakefront Trail. Check it out. It's beautifully painted with markings all the way to Sheridan Road, and we can't wait for you to check it out. We have accessible pedestrian signals all over the ward, including what you see here listed on this slide: Devon and Glenwood, Devon, Broadway and Sheridan, Devon, Ashland and Clark, Sheridan and Thorndale, Sheridan and Ainsley, and coming soon, Sheridan and Balmoral, Clark and Bryn Mawr. Margate Trail and Playground resurfacing has been completed. Check it out. It looks beautiful and the playground is fantastic. Make way for people projects and Devon streetscape is complete. We have seating along Broadway in 8 locations. We have a people spot at Devon and Lakewood, and we have Clark and Devon streetscape with new sidewalks, parking pavers, pavement markings, trees, mid-block crossings to the CTA stations, and more. And this is something that the community has been asking for a very, very long time. So we're excited to say that this is complete. Bryn Mawr has an upgraded dog-friendly area, and we addressed the flooding that was happening on the sidewalk there. And we're very grateful to our friends at Chicago Park District for helping us make this happen. Our Green Streets initiative includes our citywide goal of 75,000 newly planted trees by 2026. And all new tree requests are funded by the Green Streets Initiative. In the 48th Ward, we've planted 36 new trees along arterial streets and an additional 17 to be planted this fall. And this includes 7 warranty tree replacements. To request a tree, remember, you can now submit it through 311 or call our office. And now I want to thank the community for always being engaged in our processes, including our upgrades to our infrastructure in the 48th Ward. And I want to thank my team for being here to present to you the rest of our fantastic projects. And right now, I would like to pass it on to my Chief of Staff, Nicole Granicki.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining our infrastructure town hall virtually. My first slide here is talking about our sewer main replacement project. So everyone is familiar with this project. We had to close Ridge for most of the summer, and I just want to start by thanking everybody for their patience with this project and for your collaboration on addressing the dangerous vehicle behavior that we saw during this project. I think we're all relieved that Ridge is back open and that we have new sewer mains below Ridge. The sewer main project took place because the sewers under Ridge dated back to as old as 1893. They were constantly breaking, they were constantly leaking, they were some of the worst in the city. So this was a critical infrastructure project that we were excited to bring to the ward. It's going to increase our sewer capacity and it's going to prevent flooding, breaking, and leaking in the future. In addition to the sewer main replacement, we had the opportunity to offer free lead service line replacements to neighbors who were adjacent to this project. So that included neighbors on Ridge, Victoria, Olive, and Hollywood. We really went to the streets door to door to encourage neighbors to enroll in this free opportunity, which is a $30,000 to $40,000 value per home to replace your lead service line. And we're excited that 90% of our neighbors enrolled in this opportunity, which resulted in exactly 100 lead service line replacements adjacent to this project. Those lead service line replacements are still going on Victoria, Olive, and Hollywood. That work will continue for about another month, and then those crews will leave. We'll have the corrective work and the restoration crews come in to finish off those streets, and we'll be done with this project this fall. So thank you, everybody. This isn't the last that we're going to see from the Department of Water Management. We have a big water main project coming to Sheridan Road and Bryn Mawr in 2026. This is a replacement of existing water mains. It's going to increase the capacity of the water mains. Everything's going to be brand new. We're really excited for this project. I know folks have been waiting for some resurfacing on Sheridan Road. It's in rough shape there south of Bryn Mawr, and that's going to take, we've just been waiting for water management to come through with this project. They're going to tear up the street, and then we'll get that resurfacing complete. So just a heads up to look out for an invite to a community meeting about this project and more details about what this will entail and the impact on the community. But yeah, coming soon in 2026, new water mains on Sheridan Road and Bryn Mawr. The water main project on Sheridan Road in Bryn Mawr is a $4 million investment. We're excited to bring this to the ward. It's going to include a full restoration of the street and also that lead service line replacement opportunity if we do come across lead service lines adjacent to that project. All right, shifting gears, another big project we've got going on in the ward and just adjacent to the ward is the Ashland Arterial Resurfacing Project. That's being done in 3 phases. They started at School Street, which is just close to Belmont. Um, School to Montrose, then phase 2 is up by us, Ridge to Foster, and then the middle Foster to Montrose. So this is going to include that new traffic light at Berwyn and Ashland, which is going to allow our Berwyn Greenway to be connected to that river trail. We're going to have ADA sidewalk improvements, some curb and gutter replacements, pavement patchings. We're getting new medians along Ashland, new striping. So a lot of pedestrian safety infrastructure along with this resurfacing project that we're really excited about. And this project will be wrapped up this fall. All right, if you've noticed a lot of construction in the ward, in addition to what we've got going on with DWM on Ridge and on Ashland, we also are just doing a ton of street and alley resurfacing across the ward. So here's a map that our comms manager Audrey put together of all the resurfacing projects that are either were completed this year or will be completed this year. You can see we're focusing a lot on our greenway on Glenwood. There are some little gaps there where CDOT determined that Glenwood wasn't in bad enough shape to resurface. We don't fully agree with that, so we're going to submit those again for next year and keep improving Glenwood and get that resurfacing done. It's looking great so far. If you are close or live on or close to one of these streets and you've noticed that you had a speed hump that's now gone, or there's some pavement markings that are missing, please know that those are coming soon. That's the final stage of the project. The CDOT right now is going around finishing all their street resurfacing for the season. Then they're going to come through and add those speed humps back, and they're going to add the pavement markings back. And the speed humps are a new design that we're excited about that are going to be a little more bike friendly. They're a little lower, and the goal is to have our bikes and our cars all going around 12 miles an hour over those speed humps, as opposed to kind of stopping, going over the hump and then hitting the gas. So it's a more of a gradual speed hump, which will be safer for everybody and a little more pleasant to ride over, whether you're in a vehicle or a bike. We also have a ton of alley resurfacing going on across the ward. This map here you can see in blue are all the alleys that we've resurfaced or are resurfacing. And then in green are our 3 green alley projects that we have either yeah, these are the 3 that are coming up. We get 1 green alley a year. So when it comes to street resurfacing versus a green alley, the resurfacing is just, a fresh top. They're just going to resurface it. It doesn't really address any flooding issues. So if your alley does flood and is in bad shape, you're going to want to request a green alley. And that's a full reconstruction of the alley where they make sure that it's properly draining. So just to give you a sense, the difference in costs between a regular resurfacing is about $30,000 per alley, whereas a green alley, which is a full reconstruction of the alley, is about $300,000. And those green alley reconstructions are quite disruptive. You lose access to your garage for weeks at a time. It took about 3 months to complete our Wayne Green Alley. So those of you who are you do have a green alley coming up in your area, just be prepared for that kind of disruption. But in the end, the neighbors tell us it's well worth it, and the green alleys are fabulous. So please continue to submit your alleys for resurfacing or to request a green alley if there's flooding, and we'll get those in our queue. We still have about 30 more requests that we're trying to get through. And we are prioritizing these alley improvements based on our participatory budget feedback, which said that the community voted to spend an extra $200,000 towards general improvements, which we're putting towards doing more alley resurfacing. We're also doing a ton of sidewalk repairs across the ward. You can see here the red dots are most of the sidewalks that we've done in 2025. I think there's a few more as well. So continue to submit these. You can send them to our office or you can submit them in 311. We are prioritizing sidewalk repairs that impact ADA accessibility. So we want to make sure that all of our sidewalks allow for a wheelchair to get over, a baby buggy, and that's kind of how we're prioritizing those repairs. We did a lot of improvements by the Marianos on Sheridan Road, and it's looking great. And now you can get a wheeled vehicle, a wheelchair, or anything on wheels across all the way to Mariano's, which we're excited about. So please continue to send those in. Okay, when it comes to lighting improvements, we get one new street of lighting as part of the capital improvement project per year. This year, we've selected Granville to complement the pedestrian safety project that's going on in Granville. We really look at lighting improvements as a pedestrian safety, public safety initiative. So we've got lighting in Granville that's happening this fall. We're also really excited about our arterial street lighting projects. We've got one coming up next year on Sheridan Road, Catalpa to Berwyn. That's in 2026, so look out for that. And then we just completed a major arterial street lighting project along Clark. You may have noticed that the lights along Clark were not in great shape. It was actually like a public safety hazard. They were about to fall down, so they needed to urgently get replaced. We collaborated with CDOT, with the 40th Ward, with the 47th Ward to have all of our lights replaced on Clark between Ainsley and Ridge. So that included the replacement of 52 poles, 64 skirts, new LED lights all around. And the great thing about this project is that the new lights are now connected to the dispatch center so that CDOT will know automatically when a light is out and they can come address it. So just the Clark project alone was a $500,000 investment into the ward. We've got a really exciting project going on Ridge and Wayne. Many of you know about this project and have been involved with it over the years. This is happening in 2026. We're thrilled, and we could talk for an hour about this. We actually have. We've been having community meetings about this at filmmakers at Wayne and Ridge. And but just to kind of quickly in 1 minute talk about this project, we are bringing in the first ever pedestrian hybrid beacon to the city of Chicago. It's going to allow pedestrians to press a button, change the signal on Ridge to be a red light for vehicles. Vehicles will stop, pedestrians will cross, and then the light will change back to green for those vehicles to continue along Ridge. So we're really excited about this. There's going to be a bit of education that CDOT's going to help us do. amongst drivers and pedestrians how to use this since it is the first in the city. Last time you might have heard about this project, we had a funding gap of about $700,000, and we're excited to share that the project's been fully funded. It's a $1.3 million project, and it does also involve a reconstruction of this intersection. You can see part of Wayne is going to be converted into green space. Right now, cars fly off Ridge onto Wayne. There's no stop sign there, and it is a dangerous intersection. So the reconfiguration along with the pedestrian hybrid beacon is going to really improve pedestrian safety and vehicle safety at this intersection. So more to come. There'll be more community meetings about this as we get closer to construction, but expect this in place in spring, summer 2026. Ooh, raised intersections. So we're really excited to be bringing two raised intersections near Sun High School. So one of these has been funded by CDOT. They've got funding for pedestrian safety around schools. So the one at Glenwood and Thorndale is going to be funded by CDOT. And then we had a second one that we put on the participatory budget ballot that you all voted for. That's going to be at Glenwood and Ardmore. So both of these raised intersections are going to create kind of a school zone feel along Glenwood. It's going to improve pedestrian safety for those crossing the street to get to school, as well as those biking to school. We have seen an increase as we increase the bike infrastructure in the ward. We've seen an increase in students biking to Sen, biking to Swift, Haight, Northside Catholic Academy, and Pierce, and they all go along this route on Glenwood. So we're excited to improve the safety on this stretch for everybody. This is a photo here of a raised intersection at a different school, but this gives you a sense of what you can expect. It's the whole intersection is raised up and kind of acts as a speed bump to slow down vehicles and ensure that they know where the pedestrians are crossing. We also at Glenwood and Thorndale, the intersections or the crosswalks are a little crooked, so it's going to straighten them out. So it's less time for pedestrians to be in the street. So this project will be under construction next summer, summer 2026, and be done in time for school to start in fall 2026. We've also been had requests for bump outs and decorative crosswalks throughout the ward. These have been really popular on our participatory budget ballots. Every time we get a request, we put these on the ballots, and they're always in the top projects that folks vote for. So in 2024 on the ballot, y'all voted for bump outs at Olive and Glenwood, Gregory and Clark, and Elmdale and Magnolia. The photo there on the upper left, that's Elmdale and Magnolia. Those are complete, and the other two are coming soon. In 2025, y'all voted for bump outs at Foster and Wayne and Clark and Hollywood. Those are coming soon as well. And then decorative crosswalks. So we call them decorative crosswalks. They do help with pedestrian safety as well as just looking pretty great. It's stamped concrete, they call it. So it's not actual brick. Just kind of looks like brick. Some of y'all might have seen them installing these along Sheridan Road and along Clark Street. But we're excited to bring 5 new decorative crosswalks to Sheridan Road. They just finished putting these in like a week or two ago. So check them out. They're on Sheridan at Rosemont, Granville, Glen Lake, Thorndale, and Ardmore. I think this was the #1 project on our PB ballot in 2024. So we're excited to get those in place. We put some more on the ballot for 2025, and the ward selected, more decorative crosswalks. So we're going to put some on Bryn Mawr at Broadway, also at Winthrop, Kenmore, and Sheridan. So we've got a stretch along Sheridan Road, and then we'll have another stretch on Bryn Mawr, and those complement the ones that we already have in the ward and places like Clark Street. All right, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Agnes to talk about Cochrane Park.
Thank you, Nicole. My name is Agnes Chan. I'm the Director of Planning and Infrastructure for the 48th Ward. And as you can see, we have many, many projects here, and I've got to go through just a few more. We are almost done. Here in my section, I'm going to talk about parks, public space, and participatory budgeting. So here we have Cochrane Park. Cochrane Park is at Bryn Mawr and Magnolia, and neighbors have been asking for a renovation of this park, and we've been waiting for funds to be released from the state. So we dedicated 100K from our PB menu funding, and the remaining has come from the parks and from state funding. Those funds have been released, and we can now expect to see work on designs and a community engagement process to start next year. So we can all look forward to that. Another park that we're working on is the Sun Park Nature Play Space. So Chicago Park District, in collaboration with Families Together, which is a cooperative school right near the park, have been collecting feedback this year, in person and online. I think maybe many of you have seen the boards at the Broadway Armory showing some of the fun new concepts and ideas around a nature play space that we will see happen soon at Sun Park. And this is a participatory budgeting project. The next project here is the Elise Mallory Plaza. We're all waiting for this project. We're really excited about it. This project is on Catalpa, where there's currently sort of a dead zone of parking space. We're very excited to see this turn into a pedestrianized, beautiful space with plants, planters, sidewalk pavers, landscaping, lighting, and then of course pedestrian-friendly seating, bike racks, and trash bins. And this is estimated for spring of next year. Then of course, along with our RPM for brand new stations, we have the Under L activation project. As many of you maybe know already, we have this 100-year-old embankment that was removed from under the L, and we now have about a mile, which is 10 blocks of brand new open space. Next year is the construction year. So we're seeing that CTA is planning to build out this project throughout 2026. And right now the plans are going to include a couple of dog parks. We've got fitness equipment, a playground, some parking spaces, plazas, and a beautiful pedestrian trail that's going to go throughout the space. Participatory budgeting. So we've been doing this, let's see, last 2 years, and then going into 2026 is going to be our third year in PB. Each ward gets 1.5 million in infrastructure funds. The rules around this money is that they must be spent on permanent infrastructure on public property. And here in the 48th Ward, we designate 500K of this money for emergency repairs throughout the year. And then the remaining 1 million, we will do, we'll host community workshops, and we have PB volunteers who help us to gather ideas amongst you all, the community, on how we should spend this money. So here's kind of an idea of how we make the decisions on how this money is spent. And we look at projects through 4 different lenses: equity, community impact, severity, and feasibility. And this is something that this year I think we're going to try to do alongside our volunteers, folks from the community who would be interested in working with us. So let us know if you're interested. CDOT, we also, of course, work with CDOT because these are infrastructure projects on public property, and it's permanent infrastructure. So we want to make sure we don't conflict with them. We want to make sure that the costs are feasible and that we're not duplicating any work. And these are our projects that won this year, the 2025 winning projects. And you can see they're kind of throughout the ward. We've got projects related to school. Gowdy has a new accessible playground that's in the works. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. There's a Berwyn underpass that's going to be restored. We have bump outs. People love the bump outs. I know you saw some slides from Nicole earlier. So Foster and Wayne and Clark and Hollywood are the specific bump outs that won for this year's projects, 2025. We've got upgraded lakefront benches in the pipeline, landscaping on Foster, an audible crosswalk at Balmoral and Sheridan, some public art, which I'll also talk about in a minute, and Bryn Mawr decorative crosswalks. So Gaudi, they already have this beautiful playground, kind of this open concept that you can see in the sort of bigger green area and the blue space in the bottom right of the photo. And then you can see a red circle, and that is an area that's sort of underutilized and would be a perfect space for a sensory play area. They're looking for an additional space that's protected, that where primary students could have their own dedicated area. And this is going to be 100,000 in menu funds plus 150,000 in state funds. So the estimated timeline is that we're starting this project. Design is starting right now under the school district, and then winter, spring, they're going to do bid and permitting, and hopefully construction starts in the summer and will be open by the fall. Public art, we have dedicated 50,000 in menu funds for public art, and right now we're doing a call for mural locations. Right now, I think 50,000 is about 1 to 2 murals, and we have a community engagement process that Audrey, our comms manager, is spearheading. So, please keep an eye out in our newsletter and in our socials. We are putting out a form that people can fill out to talk about, where would you like to see a mural, and also to help us figure out who might be the muralist to do this work. There's many ways to get involved. As you know, PB, we've got volunteers, but we also have many other projects. Reach out to us anytime. We would love to see your faces and gather your ideas and help us, work on these great projects that are happening throughout the 48th Ward. We've got the Youth Advisory Council. We've got a Green Council. We have Ward Night twice a month, and that's when you can provide your input to us and talk directly with the older women about concerns and issues and ideas and suggestions for the ward. And we also have our great Bryn Mawr Alliance that's doing a lot of fabulous work on Bryn Mawr. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for joining us.